Is fascism making a comeback? If you don't think so, then you're not paying attention. Across the world, we've seen a rise in racist and fascist groups. They've broken out of isolation and are making electoral gains, whether that's Bolsonaro in Brazil or Jobbik in Hungary. Now, even the bastions of the European centre are under threat. The Front National in France and the AfD in Germany are gaining massively in the polls, and that is something that we have to be concerned about.
How have we got to this point? A big part of it is the role played by mainstream conservative parties. Egged on by the media, they've turned to a toxic mix of Islamophobia and anti-migrant racism, while offering no real solutions to the problems of austerity and cuts to living standards. This has created a climate that has legitimised far-right politics and created a space for them to grow.
Islamophobia is now accepted in mainstream political discourse, as is the idea that migrants drive down wages or we can't let refugees in. Unfortunately, many social democratic and Labour parties have conceded to this argument. Sections of the centre-left now argue that a tough stance on immigration will allow the left to own the narrative. The opposite is true. Concessions to Islamophobia and racism open the door to the far right and allow them to pull politics to the right with them.
The honourable exception to all of this has been the Labour Party leadership here. To have Jeremy Corbyn and Diane Abbott as part of the anti-racist movement, speaking up for migrant rights has been fantastic. But we know that they're under pressure as well. The right wing are constantly trying to get them to compromise on questions of freedom of movement, on migrant rights and so on. And at the same time, we've seen attempts by the Nazi Tommy Robinson and UKIP to try and rebuild a new far-right street movement in Britain. That's why we need a mass anti-racist movement from below. Last Sunday, over 10,000 of us came out to tell Tommy Robinson and his mates in UKIP where to go. We need to confront the Nazis on the streets, but we have to take on the wider climate of racism as well, whether that's the hostile environment, attacks on migrant rights, or Islamophobia from the top of society.
We need a mass anti-racist movement everywhere, whether that's in our schools, our workplaces, our campuses, or even our communities. But we need to go further. That doesn't just mean confronting racism wherever we find it, but that actually means getting rid of the system that drives it in the first place. That means fighting for a different vision of society where people come before profit.